This is another wonderful question. Why do we call it a miracle healing as opposed to a miraculous healing? Well, first of all, the word miraculous is a little bit loaded with religious overtones, and also the idea that one doesn't really have to do anything to receive it. In other words, when we think of something that is miraculous, we think of an spontaneous miracle that took place and out of thin air, somehow the person was cured. And I don't discount the possibility that they may happen, and it may have happened to you, as a matter of fact, because accounts exist showing that such things do exist. But it isn't what we do professionally. What we call miracle healing, the term miracle in this case is borrowed from something known as the Course of Miracles. And what the Course of Miracles teaches is that we can all cure ourselves if we are only willing to follow a certain process. The process essentially has to do with forgiveness. Now, forgiveness has a few steps. It's important that we know what we're forgiving others for. But more importantly, according to the Course of Miracles, it is us, it is I who I have to forgive. When something happens to us, say somebody harms you in some way, there's this idea that somehow the person harmed me and it is the person's fault. According to the Course of Miracles, if we are in a situation where someone else harmed us, in some way, we, in a sense, needed that experience. And you might say, well, what did I need that experience for? Well, I called that experience upon me in order to have a target for my aggression. In other words, the Course of Miracle gets into this cycle of attack and defense and guilt and projection of guilt and a whole way of thinking that has to do with the way our human minds work. But the Course of Miracle offers an alternative to all of that, which is the process of forgiveness. So we have to identify the mechanism that's taking place. We have to be willing to forgive. And according to the Course of Miracles, we have to ask the Holy Spirit or invite the Holy Spirit in to help us do all of that. Now, it's interesting because we started off saying that we don't use the term miraculous healing because of the religious overtones there. And here I am talking about the Holy Spirit, which is a term that the Course of Miracle uses. And there's nothing religious about this. What happens is that oftentimes when a person goes into therapy to solve a problem, through this process of going into an altered state of consciousness, such as hypnosis, and identifying the source of the problem, understanding their own participation in a particular problem, and forgiving both the people involved and themselves, as I just explained. When all of that happens, usually people feel this relief, usually they feel this lightness, usually they feel this sensation of everything's okay now. Whether that's a metaphor for the Holy Spirit or not, I don't know, but usually that sense of healing takes place. But again, we use the word miracle as opposed to miraculous healing in reference only to this notion that we are continuing to study that comes from the Course of Miracles, which is a fascinating way to think of life, the Course of Miracles. So it's a fantastic question.